Hello, and welcome to Average Roll. We're a group of Chilean gamers who love RPGs and sharing our experiences with you, our dear audience. My name is Helena, my pronouns are she, her, and as you may have already guessed, I'll be the Dungeon Master for this high-level D&D campaign, Tier 3, 11th level characters. What will follow now is a sort of session 0.5, because we have news and updates we need to take care of before we can start the campaign proper. Well, the first and most important piece of news is that we're moving our campaign to Dragonlance. Yeah, so our adventures will be now set on the world of Kryn, in the continent of Anzalon, around 30 years or so after the events of the World of Lands. For those of you in the know. So before we can start tonight's session, though, let's go around the virtual table and say hello to my fellow players. So, how are you doing, Alejandro?
Pretty good. My name is Alejandro, pronouns he, him, and pretty excited and pretty undecided of what I'm playing here.
Okay, it's okay. Well, we'll make it. We'll make decisions now, I think, and they'll be recorded, so they're now final.
Yeah.
Definite decisions.
Yeah.
What's up with you, Daniel? How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling well. I've enjoyed the Dragonlance novels since I was first able to read, so I would be very happy to continue with the character that we created in the previous session 0 and adapt into this world, but also there are many exciting possibilities in this setting.
Sure, yeah. Like, if you love Dragonlance, it's a good time to be a Dragonlance fan. This year, we'll have some sort of a revival. We'll have a new novel after like a decade or so in a couple of months. At the end of the year, we'll have a new campaign, official D&D 5th edition campaign. But this is in the future. We are in the future now. The setting. How about you, Jose? How are you feeling today?
Very happy. I'm Jose, pronouns he, him, and I don't know anything about Dragonlance more than Elena and Daniel told me, and I'm real excited to transfer my character here. I know that I will need to make some changes, but that made me happy to try it.
Yeah, not too many though, I'd say. Minotaurs, happily in Dragonlance, are a very important ancestry. So yeah, as Jose mentioned, some people probably in the audience also don't know anything about Dragonlance. So a little bit of an intro here. So for those of you who don't know, Dragonlance is a setting for the Dungeons and Dragons game that was created back in the 1980s by Laura and Tracy Hickman, and then further developed by Tracy Hickman and Margaret Wise. Its first publications back in 1984, that's 38 years ago, for those of you counting, were the first adventures in an epic series of 15 of 16 modules called Dragons of Despair, and a novelization of the events of said adventure and some of the following ones under the title Dragons of Autumn Twilight. Since then, and during the past 30 years, hundreds of novels, short stories, and gaming materials for first, second, and third edition D&D have been published under the Dragonlance name. And yeah, as Daniel mentioned, I also been a huge Dragonlance fan since I ran my first RPG session back in 2001, set in the Dragonlance world using the AD&D second edition rules. So that evening, after running my first game, one of the players lent me the first Dragonlance book I ever read, the short story anthology The Reign of a Star, and my love for Dragonlance has been enduring ever since. So what makes Dragonlance different from other fantasy worlds? We were having discussions about this before. For me, it is its focus on epic stories filled with high stakes and dramatic decisions, and at the same time, its willingness to put a spotlight on the inner struggles of its protagonists, showing how hard it is to do the right thing, and how tempting it is to choose the lesser evil, but evil nonetheless. So what do you think about Dragonlance? Well, Daniel already mentioned it has a little bit of experience. So is this interesting to you, Jose Alejandro? Does it sound like a cool world to explore?
It's very interesting. I'm open to. For me, is I maybe sound a little noob in this, but for me, Dragonlance is maybe another setting because I don't have no previous experience with the novels or all the lore. So it's very interesting to learn new settings, adapt my gameplay style to that environment, and Yeah, inner struggles. I'm fan of Werewolf the Apocalypse, so
Right up your alley, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. How about you, Alejandro?
From my part, it's pretty interesting because at first, when I read about the structure that Dragonlance have with the lawful, I mean the good, the neutral, and the evil of the world, I thought that was pretty rigid and structured. Like, I don't know about that, about this, but after reading about it and hearing from you, I'm starting to look at the nuance that goes inside each side, and it's not like, oh, we are the goody good two shoes, let's go,
Yeah.
let's kick some evil. That I thought this setting is going to be, and I'm finding this pretty, like I said, nuance is not that it's not that clear, and I'm pretty fascinated by that.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that you point out something very important that sadly a lot of people get that same impression, like this is rigid, like the goody two shoes on one side, the baddie baddies on the other, and it isn't so. Like Dragonlance is super complex and it's super interesting because it like delves into that thing of what does heroism mean, what it means to be a hero and all that. So Daniel, how does it feel? When was the last time you played or read any Dragonlance thing?
I've never played a Dragonlance thing.
Cool.
Read, it's probably been 15 years since I actually read and finished a book.
Okay.
It was I think after the series of books that covered this, The Summer of Change, then there was like, I want to say like Ashes and Blood or something, or...
Oh, the Amber trilogy.
Amber,
There's the War of Souls and then the Amber trilogy. Yeah.
That's when I basically started to drift away from it. I wasn't as interested, and I started reading more sci-fi. But literally, I learned how to read with comic books, and then the first thing that I read that had no drawings was a short story called "Wanna Bet." That was actually very spoilery in that it features the children of the main characters. So it was like. All these last names, and they talk about their hero parents, and then after that I liked it so much, my brother who had given me the short story said, hey, like, read this, and he gave me a huge book that was the first of the Dragonlance novels. And it's, I mean, going back to, I tried to start reading it now because I read it originally in Spanish. I tried reading it in English, and it's so D&D. It's, first of all, it's a huge party. It would be terrible to try and run with that many players, but I guess that's what you did in the 80s.
Yeah, that's true.
But like, everyone is a classic archetype, and they start fighting goblins, and then by the end of the book they're having to deal with dragons, and finally they go on their epic quests.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and it's super classic. Yeah, and it's a huge party. The original one, the Heroes of the Lands, are like 8 people, and then there's more. There's like more characters as you go along. So okay, so yeah. What can I say? I think we're all very excited. I'm super excited. For me, I haven't run any Dragonlance in a couple of years now. The last time I was trying to run the original sort of adventures, adapted, of course, because I think that you need to, when you're running some published material, you always need to adapt it to make it your own in a way. So and that was a couple of years ago, and now I feel super happy about going back and once again exploring a part of the lore and the setting that is not so well known, not so well explored. Most people get off the wagon after the World of the Lands. Maybe they read the Chronicles or read the Legends. Maybe they play the original modules and then they don't play anything anymore. I'm really interested in what happens after that, after the Great War, after everything now is more or less at peace and balance. What happens next? So let's go into a very super brief version of Kryn's recent history, so you get an idea of what we're talking about, both you as players and the audience. So 383 years ago or so, the gods threw down a fiery mountain at the capital of Istar, an empire of quote-unquote good that had lost its path and threatened to destroy the world. Yeah, it was really quote-unquote good. It was no longer good. It had started good, but then it had become probably lawful neutral, and by the end of it, probably lawful evil. And when the gods did so, in doing so, they saved the reality and the world, yeah, and they ended the Istar menace. It's true, but they broke the physical world in pieces. Like the original continent of Ansalon was one main landmass, and now it is no longer so. The world was broken in pieces. Now there are islands and land masses here and there. And what's worse, the gods withdrew their influence from the world. They went away, basically. They stayed back and let the mortals do whatever it is that they wanted. As a result, for almost 350 years, no one had access to true healing magic in Krynn. And without the gods' magic, the world fell into a terrible disarray. The roads became dangerous. The different ancestries blamed each other for the terrible cataclysm. That's why they call this event that had happened, and they isolated from one another. It was a terrible time, actually so terrible that people call it the Age of Despair. It was a very awful time. And then around 350, so 30 plus years or so from when we're going to start a campaign, after this cataclysm, a new menace threatened the world. The Queen of Darkness, Takisis, had in secret amassed vast armies to conquer the world. And these armies included goblins, hobgoblins, human sellswords, and never seen before troops, the Draconians, who are humanoid creatures with features like dragons, who, it was discovered afterwards in time, had been created by corrupting metallic dragon eggs with a magic ritual. So, and to make matters worse, Takisis had summoned to her side her children. The original Takisis, for those of you that do not know, dragons is what they call Tiamat. In other places, the five-headed dragon, with each one of her heads is a different chromatic dragon. And in the story of Dragonlance, she was the mother of those dragons, the chromatic dragons. So she summoned her children of all to her side, and the chromatic dragons came back into the world after thousands of years. People at this point in history didn't believe that dragons were real. They were like, they're fairy stories. Yeah. They didn't. It was thousands of years without dragons in the world. So there was a huge war, a desperate struggle that has been called by the historians the War of the Lands, and in the end, the war was won when one brave hero sacrificed their life and used a mighty Dragonlance to stop the Queen of Darkness from entering the world physically. As Huma, a great hero from many songs and poems, did so thousands of years ago. So Takisis, her plan was to enter the world physically, and the heroes were able to stop her, and the war was over. Now, that happened 30 years ago. 30 years have passed since these events. The world has been at peace for a while now, and the gods, for good and for ill, have been openly present since the war and meddling in the affairs of mortals once more. The Wizards of High Sorcery, this organization that basically gathers all magic users in the world, and it regulates them, tries to establish some rules so people that are not responsible don't get high-level magic, which is really destructive. They have been recruiting once again, and they've been openly up again to the magical shenanigans. The Knights of Solamnia, which were once disgraced after the cataclysm because they didn't help people and they weren't able to do so, have regained much of their former fame as protectors of people on the land. And it is in that context when our campaign will begin. So that's a little bit of the story of the world. Any questions, comments so far about this?
One word.
I think I remember the story a little differently, but it's like I said, it's been maybe 20 years since I read the original trilogy. So if you changed it to make it more your own, awesome.
There are a couple of changes, especially in the end, because I'm not following the end of the novels.
Yeah,
I'm following one of the endings in the original campaign. So yeah,
that I think is important. This is an your interpretation of the settings. No, it's not an official by the book one-on-one retelling.
Yeah.
I mean, for starters, the books were way before 5th edition.
Yeah.
So the rules we're going to be using, the spells are going to be similar to some of the stuff that was in the books, but different.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, we are playing this at higher level
Yep.
Tier 3.
after this war.
Yeah, that's one of perhaps one of the first questions that is going to I need to ask is that your characters, we were discussing this previously, like they could have been the heroes of this story, like the ones that did this, stopped the cases, and in a way, won the war, or you were maybe like side heroes, people like that are now becoming heroic on their own. Maybe you were doing things elsewhere. The war was massive. It was the whole continent was in a war state, even beyond the continent itself. So. You definitely could have been part of this, or maybe you were not. And yeah, just so before we dive into this, just to make it super clear and sure, this is our version of the story, our version of the Dragonlance world. It has to do with a lot with the way I see it, plus what are you going to bring in with your characters and what you like to see and all that. So this is not canon. I don't care about canon. I don't think anybody here cares about canon. Canon is cool and all, but even Dragonlance canon is like a mess. So this is like our versions of the events and the stories, which probably, if you are in the know, you're going to realize the name and everything. This campaign is based upon, I think the kernel of the campaign is that the seeds of it are the events described in the Dragons of Summerflame novel. But we're going to go into we're going to go down a very different path. They will start similar, I think, a little bit, but a couple of sessions in, even if you know the story, quote unquote, you will realize that this is a different version of the events that happened there. So,
all right. We were talking a little before.
Yep.
And I think this is important to continue.
Yep.
You gave us a choice.
Yes, it's true.
We can play heroes from either side of the conflict that is sparking right now. Exactly. I want to ask the party, what are we doing?
What side?
I think for me, we have to choose the characters that we're going to play, because there are some characters that are very cool, but that only make sense on one side of the conflict.
Just to make clear for everybody here. So this is 30 years after the world lands, and now there's a new menace in Kryn. This is the pitch you chose for the story. These are called the Knights of Takisis, and these knights, they have basically created an order of knights that has paladins, magicians, and clerics united in their devotion to the Queen of Darkness and her vision, and they are conquering the world. And so far, they're like 90%. They conquered 90% of the world, mostly, and they're about to crush basically the last remnant of hope in a way, which is Palanthas, which is one of the greatest cities in the world. For those of you you don't know Dragons, the Waterdeep of the world, the Baldur's Gate kind of city, that one of the most important cities in the setting, the Great Hawk of Dragonlance. And I offered them a choice. They could either play with the heroes on the side of good defending the city, or with the would-be conquerors, with the Knights of Takisis. So that's a choice. And yeah.
Prior of this menace, Takisis and her forces lost.
Yeah, 30 years ago, they lost the War of the Lands. But even then,
sure.
I think some of the armies retreated. I don't remember what happens to them, but basically part of the reason they fell is because the heroes raised enough of a resistance that armies started fighting back against them, and then the evil dragon armies fell into infighting. They started blaming each other for their losses and their incompetence and battling for influence and power, and that imbalance and inner conflict is part of why the heroes were able to win in the end. And a group of the evil dragon armies retreats. The Takisis is defeated. She is forced away from the reality, and the people with the dragon army go, well, I guess I'm in charge now, and I'm saying we're retreating. And so,
all right.
Yeah, she was defeated and her armies were defeated, but what happened was, as Daniel described, there were some retreats. There was additional conflicts after the end of the war proper. There was a couple of skirmishes, I'd say, minor battles and all of that. But in 30 years now, for example, Draconians, which were once only like shook troops, and they had like no mind or will of their own, seemingly. Now they have created like a city where they live, and they are now independent, and they want to live in the world, and they want to deal with people, and they want to be part of this world. And what's most important is that these Knights of Takisis are a new thing, and a new thing that nobody saw coming. Like a lot of people, there were rumors about a couple of years ago that there were knights recruiting, young people and all of that, and everybody ignored it. The Wizards of High Sorcery ignored the signs. The Knights of Solamnia ignored the signs.
They underestimated them.
Yeah.
I mean, the Takisis had been defeated. Like,
Yep.
she tried a huge ritual to come into the world, and she was blasted away.
They are about to conquest the
I mean,
whole
yes, kind of the final battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is that the original plan of Takisis was to come into the world and dominate it, which would probably mostly be destruction. Like, she's more chaotic evil than anything. Like, she's about like sort of eating the world, kind of. Okay. These new knights, they are just establishing a new order. They're like a new world order. They don't seem to have in their plans to summon Takisis. They're using the chromatic dragons as their steeds and all of those things.
Yeah,
but they're
they
not
pray to
really,
her.
Yeah,
like, she grants them miracles. So.
Exactly. But they are not really, as far as as everybody knows now, their plan is not to bring her into the world. Like, they are ruling the world in her name. That's sort of like what they are offering this new world order. Yeah.
So Daniel said that we need to pick our characters.
Yeah.
As I stated before in the previous session 0, I was going to play wizard.
Yep.
And reading about Dragonlance, I encountered the mages of high sorcery.
Exactly.
That has a pretty interesting concept. The black robes, white robes, and red robes.
Exactly.
I'm pretty interested in the red robes. I don't want to choose either side. I want to stay neutral. So I think that character can play both sides. I think, well, I can argue I'm on the side of good because this is the last bastion and full conquest is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Or I can side with the side of evil and said, well, good already had their time on that spotlight. Let's give these knights a go and see what they have to offer.
It's reasonable. Yeah. Could be.
From my part, I'm well. Like Alejandro said, we mostly decided our characters before. We were trying to change it if it's necessary, and I was planning to play a rogue minotaur. I think, and because I don't like to play dumb evil. The idea of a reformed one and someone who is trying to do good instead of their origins, for me is more appealing. You can correct me because I'm completely noob in Dragonlance. The Minotaurs were originally evil.
It's complicated. I'm going to show you the map, and maybe with the map, I think I'm going to be able to explain a couple of things we're talking about now.
The point is, I think that my Minotaur will try to do good.
Yeah.
Because he was affected by evil.
Sure. So this is the world. This is a wonderful map by. We're gonna leave the credits on the portion on the.
Wow.
It's a wonderful map by Adam Whitehead. Yeah.
It's huge.
It's huge. Yeah. It's kind of big. Let me know when you can actually see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
Sure.
There is Solamnia.
Yeah. And here is Palanthas. Yeah, this is Palanthas. This is the city, the last remnant of the last beacon of hope, sort of. So, Minotaurs first. So, if you look to the right of the map, there are two islands here called Mythos and Kothos. Those
Pay
are
no
the
attention to the huge swirling storm.
yeah
Don't
that
worry about
exists. It still exists. Yeah, don't pay attention to the awful blood sea of Istar. That was
about
where Istar once stood. Now it is a maelstrom.
There a mountain fell on that.
Literally.
Yeah. And broke the continent.
And broke the continent and dragged the city to the depths of the ocean, and now we have a maelstrom constantly there. Which the Minotaurs, which are great mariners, are some of the only people able to travel through the maelstrom or around it, and get around. The Minotaurs originally were created by Sargonas, the consort of Takesis. Sargonas is actually a Minotaur. He himself is a Minotaur. And he's the consort of Takesis, and if Takesis is kind of leaning chaotic evil, Sargonas leans lawful evil. Sargonas believes that the only thing that's valuable is honor, and the only way to obtain honor is strength. So he created the Minotaurs to have a culture of people that basically follow his tenets, which is, might makes right. The only thing that's important is your honor, and if you need to keep your honor any way possible. It is so much so that in order to ascend in status in the Minotaur society, you need to go into the arena and fight as a gladiator. And the more people you kill, the better you are considered in the society as a whole. Of course, that is kind of the stereotype, the archetype. If you want to be, you're a rogue. You're immediately going against the grain, probably of what many Minotaurs consider, that is not a honorable way of going about in the world. But maybe you're looking for your own way of finding honor. Maybe you don't like the arena. Maybe you lost someone you loved at the arena, or many someones. So, and there's also a story which is super cool, that when Huma, this Dragonbane, this original Knight of Solamnia who banished Takesis out of the world 3,000 years ago or so, he had a companion which was a Minotaur called Cass. And Cass was also shunned by his people because he fought alongside Huma against the Queen of Darkness. So there's definitely an option for you to play a character that go against type. Don't worry about it. I love Dragonlance Minotaurs. They're super interesting and cool, and of course, they're super menacing. You never know what you're going to deal with, and they have this very society structure around clans and honor and family. They are like Romans, but pre-imperial Rome, sort of. This kind of struggles about how to see yourself and all of that.
So,
like Caesar. Yep.
Only taking what you are saying.
Yep.
I can see my Minotaur trying to use that concepts of honor, of strength, but as his own way.
Awesome.
Maybe completely stray of the Minotaur society.
Exactly. Sure. Your own way. Regarding Solamnia, let's talk about a little bit about this. So in the last war, 30 years ago, the World of Lands, the armies of there were 5 armies, one of each of the chromatic colors. The Blue Dragon army was about to conquer Solamnia, had most of Solamnia conquered, and then there was a battle at the High Claris Tower, which is an ancient stronghold that, as you can see, basically is the stronghold that protects this inner Solamnia because of the Vingard Mountains. Is one stronghold in the middle, and in that battle, the Knights of Solamnia, the remnants that were at the time, they were able to stop the Blue Dragon army and push it back. And Palanthas was never conquered.
Yeah.
So Palanthas and the rest of Inner Solamnia has never been conquered for a number of years. The story we're about to play, our campaign, starts with the fall of the High Claris Tower. Mm-hmm. The Knights of Takesis have conquered the tower and are coming over the mountains. They have already done something that the previous attempt at domination wasn't able to accomplish. So just as you get an idea of how powerful and, effective these Knights of Takesis are. Yeah. So we're talking about characters. How about yours, Daniel?
So what we had discussed in the previous session 0 was Jonah Clerk, who would be a follower of a good deity, and I could play them either as a Divine Soul Sorcerer or as a Cleric of Light, I believe. That character still fits in great in Kryn. I was getting quite interested in like seeing them as a follower of Goldmoon, the cleric of the original heroes.
Yeah.
He has a powerful magical item, the Necklace of Prayer Beads, and finding a relic of long ago deities that for hundreds of years did not give you any special powers because the gods were gone, and suddenly now that they're back, it becomes an incredibly powerful relic. Was great. Has a whole built-in quest of finding the rest of the beads of this necklace. So that all still works great. But also, the Knights of Solamnia are some of the things that I enjoyed the most on the original Dragonlance novels. One of the main characters is basically the knight, the paladin.
Yeah.
Because they grew up on stories and traditions. They did not grow in the corrupt reality that the knights had become by the time the novels started. They grew up, I don't remember if their parents had like been in exile or something, but basically they grew up with a tradition of service in the Knights of Solamnia and all of the stories and all of the philosophy of it. Yeah. And the story begins with that character having gone to become a true knight, and returning not disillusioned, but trying to prove that the Knights of Solamnia, there's a reason for them to exist. And I mean, no, not really spoilers, but he does. Like, he, throughout those books, he is like of a very tragic paladin, but really awesome knight.
It's true. Yeah.
So playing a character, particularly now that we have that example of that great knight and the reflourishing of the Knights of Solamnia in the 30 years since, and the Knights of Solamnia, like, they had these 30 years to grow strong and true in their purpose, and they are now facing their most dire moment. Like, if it was crucial for the Knights of Solamnia to prove that they were worth it 30 years ago, like, this is why, because in these are the moments where the Knights of Solamnia are needed. So I would love to play a paladin of the Knights of Solamnia in this setting.
Sure, would be awesome.
So high level cleric, high level sorcerer.
Just a curious
paladin,
question.
All good.
I looked into the Knights of Solamnia and they are pretty cool. What order?
Let me check the
Rose,
Arcana of Kryn to try and remember the flavor.
Because I was interested in a Rose Knights of Solamnia.
I think sword would be what I was going for.
Yeah, if you classically paladins are knights of the sword, which are knights which combine like the prowess, the martial prowess with clerical powers of sorts. So in the 5th edition terms would probably be what we call paladins. Knights of the Crown are more lean towards the martial side, so mostly fighters and that kind of sort of character. And the Knights of the Rose, which is the ruling order in a way, the highest order, but like first among equals kind of thing. They're not better than the rest. The first among equals. They are usually in the stories the leaders, the commanders of the knights.
Okay.
So they go towards more the leadership roles. So in 4th edition terms, Warlord would have been perfect. Yeah. In 5th edition, probably Bards, if you go like for like the
Valor,
knowledge of swords, that kind of thing. Swashbuckling kind of characters. Any character that you can use, or even like a cleric, like you could use like a paladin, of course, or a cleric, or war cleric would fit, I think, a lot.
Actually, I have a question about this setting, because I know the mages of high sorcery practically regulates magic in Kryn. So one of the concepts I was thinking is Swordsbard, Knights of Solamnia, blah blah blah. Yep. But what happens there? He has like 6 level spells at this level.
this is where you start discussing with me as the way I see the setting and adapting it to 5th edition, because that wouldn't happen because in previous edition wasn't so. So in my way of saying it, it is this: the Wizards of High Sorcery are about regulating full blown magicians, so to speak. The ones that can get to the levels and do the things which are like they can change the world and all that. But bards is something else, something different. I think they would have tried for you to take the test and maybe join an order of sorts. But if you are a knight, then and you know how to fight and all those things, you wear armor and all those things, they would probably even leave you alone because you would be an exception, like not really someone. Especially if you say that if you're a knight, you have your oaths and all of those things, and you demonstrate that you are not trying to hurt anybody. They would leave you alone. The Wizards of High Sorcery were initially created because magic was once wild in the world. Almost anybody could do magic. And then the gods of the 3 moons of magic, there's a great white moon, a even bigger red moon, and a small black moon that almost nobody can see. They decided that they needed to regulate magic because otherwise people would become destructive, sometimes even accidentally. So that's why they created the orders. So it is more for magicians in that sense, and I think it really doesn't make sense for them to hassle you because you have like high level spells, because you are not really. Although I know that bards can actually at some point get wish even, you're not supposed to be like that kind of character. So no, in the fiction, I don't think they would care about you. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
If you want to play that though, if you want to play that conflict, if you want to be in conflict with them or anything like that, if you want to give them shit for the way they are, you can feel free to do so. There's definitely going to be that.
So, people, I'm hearing that you want to side with the good guys. Then
I mean, that's the classic way. I think this is one of the few settings where I was talking about being an awesome Knight of Solamnia. The Knights of Takisis are cool for very similar reasons.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they were like built in the similar way of like, but instead of following these, I mean, they do still have knightly virtues, but they were designed to be the unstoppable force that they became. And like, if you want to be a sort of a spellcaster who also uses weapons and armor, they're in the Knights of Takisis. Like, one of the things that makes them so powerful is their mages are one of their knightly orders. They have like fighter knights, wizard knights, and cleric knights, but they all use armor, they all use weapons. They're just that good.
Yeah.
From me, it's more a player decision because in the last adventure that we play, I used a bugbear with a very bad attitude, and even though I love Brink very much, he is so tiring to play. So I need to play for someone that is more upbeat, maybe.
Yeah.
Not necessarily
you need
extremely
to be an
good.
asshole to be evil.
Yeah, I know.
You could be a really nice mean guy.
Yeah, I know, but
it is true that I don't know how easy it would be for me to play a lawful evil character. I've done it for one-shots and enjoyed it quite a bit, but even in that one-shot, it was very much a case of we're going up against the greater evil. Like, my character was happy to wait decades for, ice to cover the world. We had to deal with this vengeful spirit first.
I understand.
So I don't, it might be hard for me to play like an Oath of Conquest paladin coming in here to destroy everything in the name of the Queen of Darkness. Like,
I don't know. I find that a bit easier. I play.
Sure. I mean, like I said, I'm perfectly willing to try, and other things can change. But
good, evil.
Maybe neutral, but it's hard to decide. It's more good versus evil here.
Wait for me.
Yeah.
I have a phone call.
Yeah.
Let's take a break.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, we're back. So that was coming to you. let's talk a little bit about. I want to mention something, bring up something about the Knights of Takisis that may be interesting. So, when the war was won, there was a leader of all the dragon armies, which was called an emperor. And this emperor was called Ariakas. He was defeated and died actually during the final battle of the war. And when the Knights of Solamnia were like looking around, trying to, uncover any further plans or secrets, they discovered that this emperor had a son, like in secret. And they took his son, and they took him in, and they brought him captive to the High Clerics Tower. And because they didn't know, he was young, but they didn't know if he was quote unquote evil, what he wanted to do in the world. Years passed, and it is said, now it is denied, of course, but it is said that this young man grew up to love knighthood, grew up to love the Knights of Solamnia and all of their tenets and ideas and everything else, so much so that the knights offered him to become a knight. He, of course, declined the request, and after years of captivity, he was set free because he was considered to be a good person, or at least he hadn't done anything evil for 20 years or something. And then this man started to walk on the land, and he was the one that founded the Knights of Takisis. He had a vision. He was in front of the Queen of Darkness. He didn't know this at the time, but the Queen asked him what he would do to actually win for the side of the Queen. And he said, the armies of the Queen are, chaotic. They don't care about each other. They hate each other. They're traitorous. They're only there for their own gain. They don't care about a greater vision. What evil needs is one vision that unites them. And I could grant them that. I've seen the Knights of Solamnia, and I can do better. I can create an order that's even better than the Knights of Solamnia. So that's the origin of the Knights of Takisis. This man, Ariakas Ariakan, is incredibly well respected both by his followers and even his enemies. Mm-hmm. He's extremely honorable. He's like a great leader. And if you play with the bad guys, you're probably going to know him. He probably recruited you personally. He offered you this path personally to join him in this great war of conquest of sorts. So, for example, one of the things that Ariakas, he wants to conquer Palanthas, but he doesn't want to destroy it. One of his main principles that we need to conquer this without destroying the city. Doing so would be foolish. The city is beautiful, it's ancient, it has a lot of knowledge and a lot of things that need to be preserved. If we need to siege the city for 100 days or 1,000 days, we'll do so before going with our dragons and burning the city to the ground. That's not an option. So, just so you get an idea what we were discussing about the sort of the perspective of the Knights of Takisis. I feel like I'm recruiting you. I'm not.
They are very
just
cool.
I'm just showing you a little bit of what they are.
Also, they have dragons. They have the chromatic dragons.
Yeah.
Why you have to say that so that much tempting?
That's it, yeah. In a way, I think. Yeah, they're very cool.
And the other thing is, like I'd mentioned, that I was concerned because my instinct is usually to go for more good characters, as you may have seen in the other campaigns on this channel.
No, clearly I don't have.
So yeah, I think it would be difficult for me to play a truly evil character for 20 sessions and actually go ahead and do the evil things. Like I said, for a one shot or a 3, 4, 5 shot, I'm fine. But I don't know what it's going to be because Elena has already told us that this changes, but in the books that happen in this moment, the Dragons of Summer Flame, the Knights of Takisis win. I mean, they are the dominant force, and then they have to deal with the problem of being the dominant force, where another threat to the world shows up, and instead of the good guys going to talk to the dwarves and the elves and the humans and trying to forge them together, the Knights of Takisis already have that. They have unified armies, and now they have to be the ones to save civilization, because that's their whole point.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, that's one thing that maybe is interesting to mention. Yeah, the Knights of Takisis are the threat for now, but there will be a bigger threat, and there will be probably more than one bigger threat as the campaign, where we we made this this agreement last in the session 0 that you all probably already saw. If not, why are you watching this? Go and watch that first. That we're going to play 20 sessions, and the idea is to go from 11th level now from the first session and finishing the campaign by ending 16th level, leveling up to 17th, which is going from tier 3 into tier 4. And then we'll evaluate if we play like the last 3 levels until up until the 20th level. But so yeah, this is going to be a very exciting, probably very filled with action campaign. We're going to play only 20 sessions, so leveling is going to happen fast. I try to make it as narratively interesting as possible, but of course, you know, the threats will come one after the other, probably in kind of quick succession. So yeah.
About the characters, I'm thinking right now, maybe mine is a good intended one, but isn't afraid to get his hand dirty for the greater good.
Sure.
Maybe that will help, will work.
Sure.
I already said that my character can go either way.
Yeah.
And I can work with both concepts. I would say, like, just to add, mine, well, we are 11th level. That's pretty powerful, I think, within the world. So yeah, within the orders, I would say mine is a red rogue, but he's bordering on renegade wizard because he doesn't like too much rules, I would say.
Well, one thing that this is like one of the ways that I've seen it explained, and I love it this way, is that the 3 ropes of the Wizard's High Sorcery are not so much about your alignment as they are the way you look at magic. White ropes think magic should be used to help others. Like, it does, like, the idea is that magic is supposed, if you have this power, use it to help somebody else. Black ropes think, screw this, I have magic, I have worked all my life, I can do magic with magic. No, not even that. I can do with whatever I want.
Yeah.
I can choose to help others.
Sure. Rounds of magic.
But it's my choice. I got here. I've dedicated years to this shit. And red robes are magic is what matters. Preserving magic, protecting magic, having magic thrive is what matters. So for example, the 3 Wizards of High Sorcery, the 3 orders, are united in their hatred of the Knights of the Thorn, because they violate the basic rules of magic, which are, you know, we don't, when you choose one of the orders in the older editions of D&D, you would relinquish some of the magic some of the magic spheres or orders. So for example, white robes cannot cast evocation spells or necromancy spells, you know. So that was before, now it is different, but the idea remains the same. Like, when you choose one of the ropes, you renounce a part of magic, like you become specialized in a way. The Knights of Takishi is like the order that dedicates to magic. It is not like that. It is not regulated. They can do whatever magic they want, even like some kind of wild magic and stuff. So definitely you would be against if you're a red robe, you're probably against the Knights in principle. Like, no, like what they're doing is wrong. Like, it's like a time bomb. That's what the way you could see it. Like, it's not that it's evil, it's wrong, it is a time bomb. It's going to explode. You cannot do magic that way. It is not supposed to be so. So yeah. That's the Order of the Thorn, the Knights of the Thorn. And the Knights of the Skull are the knights which are, you know, the knights which combine magic and you know, divine magic with fighting and like martial fighting and all that. So yeah. What are we doing? I love it that this is. I love it that this, even this session 0.5 is like, you know, a moral conundrum. What are we going to do? Who are we going to play in this conflict? Love it.
I hope the people that is watching found this interesting, how we're trying to figure out how how we are going to play this campaign.
Yeah, I hope so too. And even if it's not that interesting, maybe now you can see why people who know about Dragonlance and love it is because of these complexities. Because
Yeah.
everything is super like
Oh wow.
yes, but no.
Alejandro, between your choice of the bard and the wizard, do you have a preference?
It's complicated because I think that all I have read of the Knights of Solamnia gives a more powerful hook for that character, like the conflict of the order and how he sees himself and the order. But after knowing of the novels and stuff, I think it's retreading a lot of similar concepts that the characters there explore. So I'm kind of torn. On the other side, the Mage of High Sorcery, the retro, I was reading about the order and it doesn't give me that clear of a hook. It's like, yeah, there is the red robe, the white robe, the black robes, and it's kind of hard. So I was trying to find an edge, but what I'm trying to say is the character on that case is not that fully realized like the Solamnia, but the Solamnia retreads a lot of already seen themes that with Dragonlance.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah.
Because I have my doubts about it, but maybe it is.
When I read about the Knights of Solamnia and the disgrace that befallen the Order, I already think, oh yeah, maybe I make this knight. He's a Knight of the Rose, and he's kind of disillusioned with the Order because I don't know a lot of fuck ups before.
Yep.
And he's trying to do. I said like I have two ways to look at this. One, he's trying to distance himself from the Order, and the Order wants him back because we are 11th level, and it's a pretty powerful. Or he's trying to show that the honor and the chivalry that the knights have is still alive, even if it's just him. So yeah, that sounds pretty much like the character that
I don't think it does.
I think it depends on the personality of your character.
Yep.
Like,
Exactly.
is your character, particularly because you mentioned a bard? I mean, the character from the books is awesome, but a bard is not what he is very silent and
no.
full of quiet inner conflict and tragedy.
This bard like your traditional flamboyant, like, oh, I'm a bard. More like a melancholy filled knight, like, oh fuck,
cool.
my order sucks.
Yeah,
And
I'm gonna say
using the charisma for the leadership role.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I want to say two things. One, I agree with Danielle. Like, definitely, Sturm is not like that. And I'd say that in the second thing is that even though it sounds similar, I fully trust that it's not going to be the same because of the way you play your characters, we play so far, and also because it is very different. Like, Sturm had to deal with 350 years of a knighthood disgraced, where there was nothing there. He had to build it all himself. But you are going to live in a time where Sturm already did that. Knighthood has been restored. But what happens, because I said this previously, the knights people said, there are weird people going around recruiting. What are you doing? And they were like, no, it's not possible. The queen was defeated. We're doing all right. And I think this idea of yours of having a character that is like, maybe we should build something new because the knights have become complacent, even in peace, even with all things going right. I think it is extremely attractive to me, at least. and to see that, like, how would you deal with that? And yeah, maybe they're trying to recruit you back, sort of, but who cares?
Also, there's not much left of the Knights of, like, at this point.
Yeah,
The Order of the Knights of Solamnia doesn't have much reach to try and. Their greatest fortress just fell, and Palantas is like about to fall.
Yeah.
So
But
if
yeah,
you're going to be doing your own thing, like now's the time.
sure.
and the other
that
thing
is
that is the idea. Like I said, the concept of a red robe sounds pretty interesting, but aside from saying he's a red robe, and
Yeah,
I don't know, he's very committed to magic and following a lunitary will and playing both sides. Yeah, I can't say much than that.
yeah, sure.
So that makes, if you went with the bard, that would make my choice a lot easier to go with the cleric, the follower of Mishakal, who trained beyond whoever the cleric was of the original Heroes of the Lance, and now has this thing.
If
You went bard,
Yeah,
so high charisma class
Yeah.
caster, I would go full wisdom follower of that
Cleric.
stuff.
Yeah. I thought that you, if I go bar, you were to change to
Well,
sorcerer.
it would be fun. Sorcerer would, I think, clash a bit with your character. I could try and do sort of a white robe wizard for a follower of Solinari.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, both could work. I'm not against the idea of both being a Knight of Solamnia. You are from the Order of the Sword Knight, Knight of the Sword, Knight of the Sword.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound.
I think what that is saying is something like more like if you go bard, you go knight, he would go either cleric or wizard.
Yeah.
So either, like, that would be, and I think that it's
I like the Staff of Power because this is a high level campaign. We can choose some really powerful magic items. I like the Staff of Power, but I feel really bad of making you choose again the
No, I like the necklace of prayer beads. It's not as OP on a high level cleric as it is on a paladin.
Yes.
But listen, this is a cleric who's a full caster, has an AC of 18, has fireball as a third level, which was way better than the blasting like flame strike that clerics get. I can summon celestials. I mean, the
that
high level clerics
cool.
are
awesome.
And I got sunbeam if I really want to do like a long term.
And if
FUB.
if I go with this character, we are playing the good side, the good route.
Okay.
Correct. I think we could try. If we really want to play evil characters, I think we kind of have to try and create new characters. So one of the things that would be awesome for me to do with playing characters on the side of the Knights of Takisis is, I don't think I would even try like an Oath of Conquest Paladin. I think I might try the Illrigger, like the MCDM Illrigger, a Knight of Hell.
Cool.
And this would be a literal like Knight of Takisis.
Those are actually, if we are thinking about playing the evil side, the evil route, I think I would even trying to change the character to I want to really believe in the cause. Hearing about this, the founder of the whole thing, I really think I should try to play someone that is, that guy. He's our
I mean,
future.
the leader of the Knights of Takisis, like he's the kind of person that you talk to and think, well, that person should be in charge. Like, they know what they're on about.
And check this out. One of the things that he improved upon is that when you become a Knight of Takisis, you get a vision. The Dark Queen herself shows you how you fit in the plan. Shows you how you are part of this. Like, basically, she casts like a high-level divination magic and shows you what is going to be your role in the Knights. where it's like, that is called the vision. You get that. You make the blood oath, which is you make the oath to the knights, and then you are shown the vision. So all knights, they consider themselves like brethren, like brothers and sisters to each other, because they all know that they are part of one giant plan, of one giant, tapestry, in which every one of you adds something to it. So that's why they're so joined together. They believe, everybody that is in the Knights, well, at least at this period in time, everybody believes in the cause. Most of them. Of course, there are traitors and everything like that, but I'd say 90% of the Knights are like, that sort of character.
Another option for a really cool evil character is a beast heart, whose soul is like bonded to a young chromatic dragon.
Oh, yeah.
They ride the dragon into battle, not like an armored knight like the one in the picture behind Elena. Like,
yeah.
This is a person who has created a bond with this dragon since the dragon was born.
So tell me, what is going to be?
How wild would it,
Why?
How wild would it
Why?
be if we create two parties and we decide later? Like we create characters on the good side, 3 characters on the bad side, and then
I say let's decide now. Let's create the party right now, and let's decide now, because I want this campaign to become something real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true.
So for me, in that case, I would go with the good characters, because I see very easily how they fit into the setting, and it's a very cool moment of sort of pivotal to be very powerful heroes in a moment where there's almost nothing left for the good guys.
Yeah.
In a setting where usually that's not the case. Whereas, yeah, it's a really cool moment to try and be the bad characters, but it would also be a lot more rigid because you have this army organization. Like, we would not be free. Obviously, anything can happen in D&D. There would be story reasons why we wouldn't be following orders. But for the characters, they would, like, their main motivation, short of the armies of the Knights of Takisis being obliterated, their main motivation would be like, we have to get back and report this. Like, we find, I don't know, the metallic dragons are massing for a huge assault, and it's like, we're not going to be the ones to deal with this. We have to get back to the main assault force, inform them of the situation, and prepare a counterattack.
And probably will launch us to to tackle the situation.
That is
but
true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the complexity that running an army, and why you use maybe the MCDM complement there. Because it's kind of weird, like, oh, we are all generals of the S army. Let's go and
deal with this personally. Yeah.
No. The thing is that I think it's not that weird because, as just I mentioned, because of the vision. You could say, the vision showed me that I'm not going to lead the army for this. I need to do something else. And that's one of the things. Like, the knights are lawful evil, but they're not lawful stupid. Like, they know that they need to. Once again, especially if you're trusted by Ariakas, for example, by the founder of the Knights, if you're trusted by the Grand Master, that you know that you don't have to, you cannot, like, be on the forefront. You need to do something else, and I need to recruit these other people to do what I have to do, and they all say, yeah, we have had the same vision. We need to do this. I don't think it would be a problem. I don't want you to feel like if you're running the Knights, you need to, like, oh no, shit, we need to, like, run the order or anything. I think Ariakas is higher level than you are, and there are other Knights, going around and doing their thing. So it would be still a D&D adventure.
All right.
The perspective will be different, but I think, as Daniel said, I think that's a very good conclusion. I think these characters that you already have are much better suited for the side of the good guys, quote unquote, like the traditional heroes, so to speak. And I think it would be awesome if you wanted to go ahead and create characters for like the dark side still, and maybe we can play both in a way. Like, maybe the heroes the traditional heroes are the main characters, but maybe we can have some scenes, in which you are moving along your other characters. We can do that. If there's only 3 of you, I think we can do that in the campaign. It would make sense in some situations, and then maybe you can choose. Yeah,
That sounds pretty
so
ambitious.
interesting.
Yeah.
That sounds ambitious. I don't know.
But I mean,
everything's ambitious. We're playing 11th level. We know
if
exactly
we're not going into combat with the evil side, or very, very like only at the end of the campaign do we like meet in combat, and then we have to choose which ones we use. Like if mostly what we're doing is planning and setting out our armies and like deciding the priorities of the evil side, we can fit in like a lot of RP scenes in 30 minutes and advance the plot of the bad guys, and then we go, yeah, they're probably going to succeed because they're 11th level and they're dealing in this world, and then we cut back to the main characters who spend 2 hours fighting trolls that attacked us as we tried to escape.
It's going to be hard, at least for me, to avoid metagame against myself.
It's like playing chess with yourself. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to avoid
because it's
metagame.
like,
I mean, yeah, there we have the
here, and the good guy is like, maybe they are gonna attack.
Hey Elena,
Here.
can you remind me the decision that we prioritize in the section 0 about exploring, roleplay, and combat?
Sure, I was thinking about that too. Yeah, we made, as you have already seen, those of you in the audience, we decided that exploration is 9, combat is 8, and roleplay is 7.
Okay.
So the main focus is exploration, which of course means discovering things. As you can see in the map now, there are a number of places which are marked, with this kind of, it's a golden star of sorts, yeah. That they are, sacred places, and there are ruins, and there are places you can go. Of course, our story starts in Palanthas, but we're going to probably move around a lot, or at least we're going to leave Palanthas at some point and start, like doing other things because of everything, so
yeah.
So yeah. So there is that. So yeah, sure, you can. There are places to explore and to. I'd love for you, especially for you, Jose and Alejandro, that don't know much about the setting, to get a bit of a tour of the setting in a way, to try to, if you want to explore, to get to know a lot of things, get to know a lot of people, and in your case, Daniela as well, so maybe we haven't played before in the setting as a game setting.
I'm not opposed then to maybe create an evil party, but after we finish this one.
Sure.
I was going to say, part of what I would like is, because this is going to be a conflict with 2 sides, and then there's going to be at least a third, maybe more, that it would be a very interesting, yes, there would be quite a lot of meta knowledge that we would have to avoid, but I trust us in being able to do that. To have like every 3 or 5 sessions have us and maybe an hour-long interlude where we see what the bad guys are doing, like a meeting of the lieutenants of the evil side trying to deal with things, and maybe we hear what the evil side is having to deal with from the actions of our main characters and of the other factions, but like, and then we set up like what the evil side is going to be doing in the next 4 or 5 sessions of the main campaign. But that's just because it would be very cool for me to be able to get our main characters who are traveling all over the world, presumably gathering powerful relics, contacting allies, rescuing important things, and then cut back to, Darth Vader and Admiral, Tarkin and whoever like in this council room trying to actually rule the Empire.
Actually, you said something interesting there, because we are going to be traveling around the world searching for a way to defeat the Knights of Takisis.
Mostly.
Yep.
At least at the beginning.
Yeah.
While the Knights of Takisis, they are trying to conquer Palanthas.
Yep.
That's in 2 different places. I don't think we should worry about that much meta knowledge that we are going to have, because if our characters are not physically there, they're gonna just hear the notice, like, oh, the X tower and Y tower fell, and now the Knights of the Kisses are marching forward, and we should hurry, and then we are on our evil characters is like, man, this is just playing, I don't know, Risk. Let's go.
Well, once again, it is ambitious, but I'll leave it out as an option. But definitely, I think that we can try, or maybe once again we can see. Maybe we can talk about this after a session or so. Maybe we play a couple of sessions with the traditional heroes, and maybe you're like, yeah, I would like to try this, or maybe it's okay, or maybe we'd like to switch. I don't think it's a problem. Like, I think the important thing is that you play characters that you're excited about playing. So in that case, I would say, Alejandro, I definitely think that if your knight character for you is more interesting, you have it more developed, and you think that you can get more out of him, I'd say go with the knight.
Yeah.
So in that case, and yeah,
I prefer just one party, but
yeah,
just because I think it's pretty ambitious, and we are already taking a lot of risk with 11 tier 3 and trying.
I'm just saying it gives us options in case of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, if you say that is what you want, you know, I'm pretty on board. Mm-hmm. I'm that kind of guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want that, go for it. I'm going to create the evilest motherfucker, and I'm going to conquer the world, and then I'm going to save it, and then conquer it again.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's
So,
interesting.
yeah.
If
we're deciding today, then I think I would go for the
good ones?
the good characters,
Yeah.
particularly because they give us the most option, at least at the beginning, to do the exploration. Because it's going to become, I think, evident quickly that we can't save Palanthas staying where we are, trying to, lead the forces that remain. We just lost the most defensive stronghold that we had. So if we're going to save Palanthas and all of Kryn, we're going to have to travel and find hope elsewhere. So I would love to play, Jonah Clerk, Light of the Prism, follower of Mishakal, trying to find the rest of the Holy Relic that, of course, he believes will grant him the power that he needs to save Palanthas. And then stuff happens.
Because what you are talking now, an evil character sounds so much fun, but I still can't think of a good plot hook or good motivation. So a good character must
like
be.
Daniel said, maybe if we are choosing evil, like our side, we need new characters for that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's
So no, I think I will keep my Minotaur as a good aligned one.
You prefer that to create an evil character?
Yeah, I prefer that.
Okay. So yeah, let's play good.
Awesome.
Yep.
Guys, I'm a cleric that has Wall of Fire.
It's true.
I mean, and then I'm going to, if you are happy to go cleric, I'm going with the Knight of Solamnia.
Yeah.
The Knight of the Rose. And I'm gonna have my skyship. I don't give a fuck. Because I played the solution with the order, I don't give a fuck. I have a skyship. Yeah. And we are going to travel the world.
Awesome.
Possible thing that it could have been used. This I'm totally coming up with. Obviously, Elena can veto anything. Maybe your skyship was part of like a resupply base for dragon riders, like Knights of Solamnia that would ride dragons. They would perch on your skyship. Your skyship would get them close, and then they would deploy out of it. And now, presumably, most of our dragon riders have been defeated. So now you've got a skyship with a lot of space for dragons and almost no dragons, maybe no dragons at all.
Yeah.
Well,
but it's a great way to get out of the city.
Yeah. Like a dragon carrier, like an aircraft carrier, like a dragon carrier. I love it. That's super cool.
I need a crew for this, and I need cannons and ballista. I spent
I mean,
almost
listen,
all my money.
my character can act as a cannon, like
Yeah.
a heavily armored cannon.
True that. Well, and also you have the go ahead.
If I'm playing the bard, I can have a Pegasus
Yep,
because I have magical secrets, and I'm taking a greater.
greater steed. Yeah,
Yeah.
fine steed.
That's
Absolutely.
super cool.
Great.
It makes
I don't
total
have
sense as
anything to move.
Yeah, you can take like the best paladin spells.
Yeah, I can be a paladin.
Yeah,
But
Yeah, kind of. Well, it would make sense for your character as a Knight of Solamnia for sure.
so
Daniel, if you are a cleric, maybe you are the reason why I'm good aligned.
sure.
I think this is a pretty good segue. If we know about our characters and what we are doing in the campaign, in the good days, we should think about how we have met, how is our relationships.
Sure.
What is the deal with this party and previous adventures that maybe we had?
Yeah. Sure. Let's start with the simple thing. Where were you 30 years ago during the War of the Lands? Maybe you weren't even born. If you're a human, you're like 24, you weren't even born. But in the case of the Minotaur, I think you were there. Most probably Minotaurs have, let me check their age, but if I remember correctly, they are long-lived, more than humans at least.
Okay.
And yeah, and I think if you could have been also probably not there, it depends on you, Daniel, for Jonah. So
I think if I was a young child.
yeah, the Minotaurs live in Crane around 150 years old.
Yeah.
So
For 30 years, I think my character may have been like an orphaned by the war, taken in by the temple, and just grew up in the temple, and is like, these people saved me, and then they saved the world. Yeah. I'm following Mishaka. Like,
sure.
miracles came and they saved me. It wasn't there to save my family, but now I can do miracles. I will save the other families.
Is your family a human? Or sorry, is your character a human, or is it a
Human.
Asmar? Okay, yeah, sure.
Knights of Solamnia are mostly humans, right?
Yeah, but there was a reform in the knighthood like a couple of years ago. Not so much, like a couple, I'd say like a decade ago or so. There was a huge reform, and now they're open to receive people from any ancestry, as long as they pass the tests.
If it's a decade and I want to be part of the war, I can be.
Half elf, yeah.
Yeah.
You can be half elf, you can be elf, you could be. I think probably the only thing they still have, like even the rules about, is Kender. Like, you cannot be a Kender knight, probably because they don't believe that you're going to uphold the knighthood in that sense. But
no, I mean that if I want to be part of the war, I thought like something like maybe I was a squire during the war.
In that case, maybe you're older.
I have to be a human because 30 years ago they didn't accept other thing that wasn't a human.
Yeah, but I usually allow exceptions to run games. So you could have been maybe someone that they accepted like as an exception at the time, you know.
Particularly if you weren't a knight then. If you were a squire.
Begrudgingly, that sort of thing, you know. So
you could have been the reason why they had the exception. Like, you were such a great squire for so long that people were going, this squire is a better knight than like many of us.
Yep.
Like, we have to change this.
Because I was thinking of playing a half elf or a human. I'm between those two. If either way, I can play an older human, like 46.
Yeah, sure.
Like 40s. If not, I can play a half elf.
So where do you? Sorry, go ahead.
Elena, what age Minotaurs mature?
They are mature a little bit later than humans, so around 30 or 40. So yeah, so definitely you could have been a child back in the day, or you could have been even be very young and be fighting then. Once again, my question is more like, would you like to have been part of like the
No, I
the
think
war
that-
effort
no,
in one way or another?
No, I think I will have run away during the war.
Sure. Okay.
I was part of the war. I was a squire.
Okay, sure. So you were like fighting there, but not one of the main protagonists of the story.
Yeah.
And how about you, Daniel? How about Jonah?
He was a very like 5 years old when the war ended. So
Sure.
pretty much his entire memory is growing up as a refugee of the war, taken in by probably the very first followers of Gold Moon, and then growing up as part of the faith. And then probably at some point they found we're gonna have to come up with the name of this relic. Like it's not the discs of Mishakal that Gold Moon finds, but
Yeah.
maybe it was a relic of a previous cleric, like the prayer beads of a specific religious figure in the past.
Ooh. Okay. Do you want to be the prayer beach? You want to? Yeah. Sure. Let me check that.
So yeah,
I
But
think
so
actually
I-
there is.
probably when they were like 15 or 20, like going out to one of the first what would be adventures, sort of missions of service, they found this relic and were like, well, this is my purpose. Like,
Yeah.
there was a great tragedy that befell me, why I lost my family. I could not have that life, but I was taken in, like all I've known is this faith, and I found this relic. And before the Knights of Takisis, like his mission was, I use these powers to heal, to bring Mishakal's holy light to and blast away the darkness, and I'm like going to go into all of these dangerous places to find the rests of this relic. And then the Knights of Takisis go and it's like, oh boy, it's real good that I wasn't a kind of healer cleric and more of a blasting cleric, because that's the kind of cleric that is needed to be able to go out in the world now.
Yeah.
All clerics are blasting clerics, if you think about it.
I mean, you should see you should see my life cleric in the Curse of Strahd game. I was struggling. I was like, I mean, I got guiding bolt and I got spiritual weapon, and if those don't work, boy, I'm in trouble.
And that's about
I
it.
know.
Okay, we're going to modify an object that it actually exists in canon, sort of. It's called Mishakal's Grace.
Ooh.
So I'd say that your prayer beads are called that, and you can modify them, and so we're gonna
That
leave that
sounds
in there.
pretty cool.
Yeah, Mishakal's Grace. I seem to remember that, and I was right that there was an object, another lost relic or artifact. Like I've been reading Dragonlance for 20 years. I have a lot of shit here, and sometimes I remember like my mind was like a broken HDND drive. So sometimes I remember. So yeah, there's that one which is called. We're gonna modify the original one, and this is the version in this canon of Mishakal's Grace. Is the prayer beads, which I think you probably discovered on your own. It was something that you did. You brought this back into the faith. And one thing I was going to ask / offer is that maybe you are Palanthas born. Maybe you were born there. One of the first temples was created. There's a whole part of the street which is dedicated to temples, and one of the first ones that was brought up after the war was the Temple of Mishakal. So you could maybe you lived there, or maybe you were brought here.
Not born in Palanthas, but raised there, and basically like I have some vague memories of hunger and cold and fleeing for my life, and then being taken in by the first followers and raised in the temple.
Okay. So what else? We have that. You have your skyship. Are you going to use that as your stronghold?
Yeah.
Awesome. So
I think if I don't, I'm not being true to myself. I play D&D to do cool shit, and having a skyship is the coolest.
yeah.
That's your character here, Daniel?
Yep. This
Nice.
is Jonah Lens, Light of the Prism.
I'm actually going to say, I'm gonna reiterate perhaps, but this is going to be the cool shit campaign. I hope that is my one hope and like cardinal like rule is like we're probably going to skip a lot of the boring shit of D&D. So
Skyship is great for that.
yeah,
Because if something messes you with a skyship, it's probably a dragon or a rock.
yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, you get where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of focus will be in like I will be what is called in the biz like hard framing scenes. So I'm gonna probably put you in situations, describe a little bit, and then okay, go and do your thing. Because otherwise, you know, there's a lot of ground to cover, and I would love for us to focus on the cool shit, as you said. You know, you're at 11th level. I don't care about the minutiae probably of rations or I don't know, water or torches. You have many options at your disposal, and I want to see you shine by doing the cool thing instead of like, you know, trying to micromanage some kind of life simulator that is not very good at that. Okay, so I always have this question. Maybe you can help me, Daniel, with the strongholds. The one that has the name of the class, that is like a different thing because there's 4 at the beginning.
So you choose basically the type. If you want an establishment, a keep, a tower, or a temple.
Okay.
And that any class can choose any of the 4. Technically, if you don't have any spell casting, there's no reason for you to choose the tower, because why do you want to be able to modify spells if you can't cast them?
Exactly.
But other than that, you can choose any of the 4. And then regardless of which you chose, you also get the bonus of your class's stronghold.
Exactly.
So
okay, sure.
if a bard makes a temple, then they get the concordance bonuses of the temple, and they get the bard's stronghold benefit. Yeah, the bard theater stuff.
Awesome.
And that would be I guess a fun temple to go to service at.
Yeah, but in your
awesome
case,
choir
Alejandro,
and organs. Yeah.
Your airship, what do you think it is? Is it a keep, a tower, a temple, or establishment? Like as a broad group.
Ask me after these guys, because I have to read
Thank
them.
you. I had to read them too. But what's the options? A keep, a tower, a temple?
Yeah, basically, a temple and
an
establishment.
Establishment.
Can you
What
make
is an
a-
establishment?
Like a
the
tavern?
classic is a tavern.
Okay.
And the idea is that it's useful for espionage. It gives you money. It's the only stronghold that gives you money from the beginning. But the main thing is there's lots of people coming in and out. So you hear a lot of things that are happening. And then as your establishment grows in influence, you have an organization of people that can ask questions, go out to other territories, and come back with information.
Can a merchant ship be an establishment?
Yeah, because you
Done.
that was quick. Give me a quick summary of the keep. I already heard the tower.
Yeah.
The keep is about raising units. It's about getting like people to fight for you, like units of people that can fight for you. The tower is, as Daniel said, to do spell research, to invent spells, to modify spells. And the temple is to petition to your deity, and also to use concordance, which is can you remind me what concordance is?
A version of divine intervention that anybody can do. So if you're a follower of a deity, you can call out to your deity, and depending on how your behavior has been, staking to their tenants, defeating their enemies, desecrating enemy altars, or consecrating those of your own. Basically, the DM is meant to be keeping a tally of how does each god think of the characters. And when you get your concordance, that silent bonus gets added to a D100, and whatever result you get, if you've been very, very bad, you get cursed. But most of the time, if you've been bad, you get ignored and nothing happens. But if you roll really well on the D100, or your concordance has been quite high, you get the bonus of bless or shield of faith, or as you get higher up, you get like allies show up. And if you're
Celestials,
celestials show up, or if you follow, like, fays can show up, or if you're evil, like demons, devils, undead can show up.
So
after our big
and by the way, just to make it very short here, like knights although the Knights of the Sword are the most devout in that sense, they are devoted to each of the Knight Order is dedicated to a different god.
Yeah,
So, for example, the Knight of the Crown is dedicated to Habakkuk.
There is a boar.
Yeah, the boar is Habakkuk, which is like the god of like good nature in a way. So the Knights of the Crown, which their oath is about serving, they serve as Habakkuk does. The Knights of the Sword, which are all about justice, they follow the path of Kiri Jolith. Kiri Jolith is all about bringing justice into the world. It's a sword, and
also patron to minotaurs.
exactly
the
to good
ones.
minotaurs. Yeah, and the Knights of the Rose. It's called. I'm gonna write it in. I'm gonna write it in the chat. It's called
That's cool.
Kiri Jolith, which is a super nice, cool god. And the Knights of the Rose follow Paladin himself. Paladin, known
Yes,
to other people, in other words, as
Bahamut.
Bahamut. Yeah. The metallic dragon, the platinum dragon, the father of the metallic dragons, highest god in a way, first among equals again, regarding the gods of good. So yeah.
So help me here.
Yeah, sure. What do you want out of your skyship? Yeah, that's a question.
Yeah, what kind of stronghold can be this skyship? Because if I coming with my wizard or Blitzsinger or whatever, it's going to be a tower skyship, but now it's kind of difficult.
So this is still me thinking of leading a flight of dragon riders out of the thing, but a keep, like where you have the followers of the Knights of Solamnia who go like the way you think they should be, based out of your tower.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I was thinking that because
And like they could do like, now I'm picturing like if you wanted to do sort of Black Ops scenarios where like they all know like Featherfall, they know a first level spell and they just jump down and with Featherfall and they come down silently and
shit, this is going to be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's the
think
idea.
a keep is the answer.
Okay,
and
cool.
the really high level ones, yeah, like you would have a Pegasus, others could have griffins or dragons or other flying mounts that they could like use to be super cavalry, like flying cavalry. But again, that's because I think it's a really cool idea.
No, I think it too. And I was struggling to picture the skyship to keep was the only one that makes sense. And really makes sense.
You mentioned, Daniel, that the establishment is good for spinach, but mechanically, what does? Because I hear that everything that you have said, but about establishment, I haven't hear anything now.
Establishment allows you to get rumors, which you can actually like you can get rumors about things happening in the world. You can gather intel, which is that ability says intel lets you know what your enemies are up to, along with your allies and those organizations, guilds, orders, countries, and such who claim to be neutral. What you learn is up to the GM. It will be useful, but highly generalized.
Okay.
And also it gets favors, which is it says what is this?
I think sort of if a keep allows you to raise units, equip powerful units to have you, the establishment lets you know like, oh, this person owes you a favor, or we can connect these two, and then we have, so when it's time for us to be involved in a battle, we just call in our favors. Yeah, so we call in this dwarven city
once
that
per
we help.
season. You may spend 1,000 gold pieces to choose a favor below. From the keep, you can buy mercenary units equal in number to your establishment level. You choose a modified spell researched by an NPC ally or other party member. You can cast that modified spell a number of times equal to your establishment level before you forget it. And the temple, choose an allied NPC or party member with a temple. You can petition their deity and use their concordance once. If you summon a servitor, it remains for a number of rounds equal to your establishment level. So you get like
Yeah, you can fall in a favor.
You can use a little bit of the rest of the strongholds.
Go for
So,
it.
yeah.
Go for it. It's
Continue. Excuse me.
It's go very very close with the concept that we talked before, Elena, I think, about the labyrinth,
Yeah, it's true.
the ship.
How the classes stronghold works?
They improve a base. Well, there's a bunch of awesome flavor that I really like, but is kind of based on the generic archetype. So I think the bard adds musical stings to when people talk. Yeah. So in around the area of the bard's theater, whenever the wind blows through the trees, music plays, and the hooves of beasts on roads beat out a complex rhythm.
I'm trying to picture this on the skyship now.
All of this can be altered at the GM's discretion, but it also says thunder can be counted on to roll whenever someone in the bard's domain says something dramatic. Ravens obediently alight on nearby branches when it is dramatic and expected of them.
Conquer the pass.
Cue thunder. Yeah.
The High Clerist's tower has fallen.
Thunder. Yeah. Sure.
But what it actually gives you is there's the rules for the extended rest, and you can't use these feature improvements until you complete one. But if you give bardic inspiration to an ally, as long as they hold it, their proficiency bonus increases by 1. So just having inspiration from the bard makes you better at everything.
That's
Dude.
pretty cool.
Yep.
Imagine my rogue. He have proficiency in a lot of things.
You have
And sometimes you get double
talent.
proficiency.
Yeah,
You have reliable talent, so you can roll below a 10.
and I choose as a feat the skiller. No, how is
Skill?
it?
Yeah.
The skill.
The Rogue Tavern, the feature improvement is called Vanishing Strike. After you hit with a sneak attack, you may become invisible. Anything you are wearing or carrying is invisible as long as it's on your person. It lasts until the end of your next turn or until you attack or cast a spell.
This benefit only applies when we are at the
No.
stronghold or
After
everywhere?
we have, so there's the extended rest, which is recommended to be like a month that we spend at our stronghold. Basically, it's supposed to be the time period between adventures. So when you're on an adventure, you can use this ability a number of times equal to the level of your stronghold.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So the
Until
rogue
I
can sneak
complete-
attack this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until I complete and
your-
extended the rest again.
Yeah, and then it refreshes. Yeah.
The bard can use these special super inspiring dice a number of times equal to their level of their stronghold. And the cleric, I think their channel divinity is, manifest divinity. When it's used, allies regain 3d8 hit points, and I can do that as many times as the level of my stronghold. So
Alright.
aside from doing what the channel divinity does, it also heals.
All right.
Wow.
So you are having a temple?
Yeah, I'm having a temple, and in the previous version, it was going to be like somewhere in the wilderness. Here, maybe it's in Palantas, maybe it's somewhere else. Like maybe it's where I first found the artifact, like Mishakal's Grace.
Sure.
That depends, I think, on what some of the other characters who won't be like they won't be joining us every session. But if they want to tie in with some of our characters, that may change the location of my stronghold.
How much does a stronghold
Cost?
I think the keep is the most expensive, and it's like 10,000 gold for the first level.
Yeah. So how are we doing that with my skyship?
And my ship.
Since it is in both cases, but in your case it's an homage ship, I'm gonna give you the ship for half price, so 10,000 for the ship, and if you make it a keep, it's 10,000 more, and you get, I think, like a 1,000 for something else.
And after that, it's 5,000 to increase the level of the keep.
5,000. Okay. So Basically, 20,000, and I get my skyship, and it's a keep.
It's a keep, yeah. And also to keep with the benefits of the Bard's Theater.
All right. Does
yeah.
the keep give it something like stats?
Yeah, but it gives it stats to when used in warfare. So as a keep, it automatically allows you to recruit units. Like when it becomes a keep, you roll to see what units show up. It gives you more morale, and it's more fortified than other strongholds.
We are going to, because I doubt that is fortified as an actual keep.
Yep.
But maybe the becoming a keep make it a little more durable than a normal skyship.
I'd say we're gonna use the rules as it is. I think it's super cool. I like it in the sense of, I don't mind having it be as strong as a regular keep on the ground, because it has other issues, quote unquote. What source of power it has. How do you get what source of energy does it use? How do you get that energy? Where do you get it from? And all of those things. This is not D&D, but I'm a fan of your characters from the get-go. I'm not trying to screw you in any sense. So if problems come up, they'll probably be because it is dramatically interesting. Something happened in the story.
It's fun.
Maybe if you roll like a failure in a check and it makes sense and it would be interesting, would do that. But once again, it's like, I don't have issue with you having it. That's why I'm allowing it for you to have it. So I'm not going to go ahead and then, destroy the first episode. Like, okay, no.
Good to know.
Yeah, no, it's not the idea. Like, of course, if you use your ship to like go straight into a dragon,
into the army.
Yeah, that is your choice.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna actually probably let you know that probably is going to get destroyed or something like that. So yeah, but yeah, I think it's okay to have it have the basic benefits of the keep, the same ones as one on the ground, and then you need to roll for the units. Although I don't think we'll get into warfare stuff unless you're really interested into that. If you remember, audience, our warfare playtest that we did, we could do that, especially at the beginning of the story. But I'm more interested in the stories of what your characters are doing. So, but definitely, if you are like, would love to play this battle, and I want to bring in, my warfare stuff, we can do warfare as well. So it's.
I would like to, not this episode particularly, because we might want to adjust the tables, but I would like to roll just to see if we get cool followers. Like,
sure.
If you have a gnomish invention, probably you have a gnomish artificer who's the main person who maintains everything.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Gnomish engineer.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well,
I need my crew. Crew.
Yeah, me too.
And yeah, like when the Minotaur is off, having adventures, who's the captain of the ship?
Yeah, that's something that we need to select.
Yep. You can talk about that now, or you can talk about later. But I think I'll leave it more or less up to you. When you do what you create characters,
I thinking that if we are going to roll some dice for that, maybe we can do it off off camera, so it can be a surprise for.
Yeah. And we just introduce the characters.
Yep.
When they show up on screen
in the same campaign. Because we are revealing that we meet each other, we are the good guys supposedly, but that's all that the people who was watching us know. We're not spoiling the campaign. I think
we pick a side. We have our characters.
Yep.
We have our strongholds.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How do the party know each other?
That's a very good question.
Previous adventures?
Two very good questions.
Maybe you can help me in that part, because again, I'm using the concept originally I decided, and I don't have all the context of the story. So my propose for the Minotaur is that maybe he wasn't a good guy before something happened, maybe by intervention of any of you or someone who you know, and that make me take the decision to forget it. I abandoned my group, the rest of the Minotaurs, and do the right thing.
Question before you answer that. The Knights of Takhisis appeared 30 years after the war ended.
Yep.
And how long do they take to conquer 90% of the... Like, how much time has passed?
2 months.
2 months to conquer everything.
You're talking about, once again, the greatest force in the history of Kryn. This is like the equivalent of Order 66, but if it wasn't like cringe as in the movies, like, yeah, this is like
Execute order.
the Dark Knights, the Knights of the Kisses are like incredibly powerful. And once again, so far they seem to have like no holes in their armor, so to speak. You know, like they have dragons, they have magic, they have clerical powers, they're united.
Tremendous discipline,
Tremendous discipline.
They've been planning this. Like they knew that they were going to conquer the whole continent for a while, so they had this plan set up, and they had intelligence of who all the factions were and who to strike first and where to cut off supplies.
Plus, they have some shock troops, new shock troops, which are a group of human-like creatures that wear war paint, and they seem like they're like, if you know your mythology, they're like the true berserkers in Viking history, like in like that sort of mythology. You know, they seem like go into a berserker rage, and nobody can kill them, and they keep on killing enemies. And of course, you know, so sometimes they become problems. And the thing is that after the first like initial campaign, a lot of places simply surrender to the knights because the knights offer them terms of surrendering, like, give us control of the city. You can keep on going about your business, do your thing. We're not going to take away your money or your family or anybody. We just want to put a governor that serves the knights, that is going to inform us, that is going to try to maintain the law and all of that. If you do that, we'll leave you alone. We don't care about that.
This is something I don't remember, partly because it doesn't have it's not covered as much in the novels. What's their view on worshiping the other deities, like the temples to the other deities? Are they like desecrated? If
I remember correctly, they are a little bit like zealous in that case, but I don't think it makes that much sense because I'm imagining the knights as I said, you know, previously, I think like Imperial Rome, like they are, you know, we are here, we are better than you, we have all the technology, quote unquote, you know, we have all the innovations.
The other gods exist, it's just that ours is better. And if you surrender, you acknowledge that ours is better. You can keep worshiping yours, but ours is better.
Exactly. Because once again, what they say is that, and this is one sort of, you know, like the way I think the propaganda of the Knights goes about, the Knights of the Kisses, is that they say the way the good guys depict the Kisses is like, it is not true. Like, she really cares about the world. She's not about to destroy it, which is like the popular wisdom about it, you know, like the Kisses, if she entered the world, she would consume it, destroy it, whatever, you know, dragons will rule the land, everybody would die, we would all be food to the dragons, to the chromatic dragons, sort of. They're like, no, that's not true. Like she likes this idea of ruling the world in such a way that everybody has their place, you know, and everybody can be happy, quote unquote. But they're still evil. Like, there's still, of course, you know, there's a lot of, you know, I know better than you. Like, our gods is better and all those things. So keep that in mind.
What is crossing your head, Daniel?
No, I'm working out. I believe my character would have a level 2 temple. Working out how much money, and because I had already done the math of how much it's more expensive to have gotten all of the ritual components to be an 11th level cleric than it is to build a temple. It's, wizards spend a lot of money inscribing spells and all that, but clerics, like, suddenly you need very expensive gems, goblets, ritual foci.
That's true.
So yeah.
How much did you say the a ship cost? I can't remember. You say half, but
10,000, I think.
you say
that's the
for
that's
the regular
your
ship.
Yeah,
No. Yeah.
A regular ship is
10,000?
10?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Let me check. I have the long ship. A galley cost 30,000. A long ship, 10,000. A sailing ship, 10,000. Warship, 25,000.
A galleon.
Let me check another table of the DMG. Here we are.
You want a galleon?
Yeah.
Okay, let me check.
Yeah, galley 30,000. A keelboat 3,000. A
What?
longship.
Keelboats, they're much smaller. You push them with either oars or like long poles.
Okay.
They're for going through rivers and lakes, not.
These prices are pretty wonky, if you ask me, because that costing 3,000 is like that fisherman's fucking loaded.
Well, I mean that's like I mean it's more important than their house, right? Like this.
Yeah,
There is the real house.
Yeah.
Okay.
but yeah, sailing ship 10,000, warship 25,000.
That's a warship. I don't want a warship.
You can have a crew of 60 people and 60 passenger and travel with 200 tons of cargo.
Can you send me the link of that information, Alejandro, so I can look it later?
Should be on D&D Beyond too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
D&D Beyond.
check that too.
D&D
So yeah,
Beyond.
take a look at it, and if you need to make any changes, we can talk about it. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's okay. So, but now you realize why everybody when I said, all of you have $21,000, like, oh, what am I going to do? And now everybody's like,
No, it's not so much.
not so much.
I mean, if we were traditional D&D characters, we should just buy some armor and
Sure. I did that first. Yeah, my character
do
has a
boring stuff.
breastplate, and then that's the only the non-magical thing that they have.
I'm going full plate. Oh no, not full plate, half plate, because looks
That
cooler.
makes sense. Yeah, but disadvantage on stealth.
I don't give a shit. I look cool.
I was going to ask actually about Jose about your character, because the original story we had talked about was that he had this he's a phantom still,
Yeah,
isn't he?
sí. Yes.
So he has these spirits like ghosts that are sort of haunting him in a way. Would you like to keep that?
Yes.
Sure. So
That's why I feel a little complex to me go evil, because break the motivation that he has.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So
Yeah, no, this character doesn't make sense as evil. either.
No.
It's like,
No. So I was thinking maybe, and this could be because you were thinking about, sort of like Jonah recruiting you in a way, Daniel's character. So I was thinking this thing. There is a place, a holy place, a mystic place to the southwest of Palanthas that is called the River of Healing here.
Okay.
And healing is Mishakal's thing. So, in a little bit to the north, there's a place that is incorrectly named there. It says Dracos with the apostrophe before the S, but it should be like S apostrophe. The Dracos Citadel. Galen Dracos was a renowned, infamous Black Robe who actually was fighting for the side of evil during the Third Dragon War, the war in which Uhuma fought thousands of years ago. and this is a ruin. So I was thinking maybe you, with your former party of sorts, your character, the Minotaur, you were trying to find a way to get rid of this ghost, something like that, or maybe, you know, doing some kind of classic dungeon crawl shenanigans, you know, other in that ruin. And then, you know, at the same time, Jonah was exploring, looking for to restore the beads, you know, and then you sort of like encounter each other, and that's what when you like maybe right, I'm thinking maybe, you know, maybe your former like a group betrayed you, former party betrayed you kind of, and maybe they killed you, left you for dead. And then, you know, you felt something like that, Jonah, and you went there and you healed him and you brought him back to life and you gave him another chance, because that makes a lot of sense with what we said. You know, one of the rules of Kryn is, you know, good redeems its own. Good is always looking to turn people back from the darkness, back into the light, to serve good, to do things for others. So that would make, I think, a lot of sense. It would be interesting. Like, that would be the way that would connect you to as characters. Maybe this happened a long time, maybe this happened recently. I'll leave that up to you, but I think it's a good idea for that.
Well, I like that idea.
Yeah, me too.
Sure.
Yeah.
And if you are a renowned high-level cleric of Mishakal, and Mishakal is not in the knighthood per se, but she's very well respected by the knights. Like, the knights pray to her. Like, she's a very important goddess in the good pantheon. So I definitely, and the knights, by the way, their capital is supposed to be Balanthus. Most of them, of course, you know, you can see that in Salamnia there are a number of keeps and, you know, castles and stuff like that. So I'm thinking your character, Alejandro, maybe you know Jonah, maybe, you know, you've seen him before, maybe you've heard about him, you know, because, well, you know, he's a renowned, you know, at this point I think you're the highest active, at least probably the highest level cleric of Mishakal in the whole world. I don't think there's anybody higher level than you are. Probably Goldman, but Goldman, I don't think that she's active anymore. She's not.
She'd be 60 or so.
Yeah, she's like very old, and she's now dedicated to other things. She's dedicated to her family, you know, and to the restoration of the Keshu tribe, and then all the tribes in the Abanasinian plains. So I think that would make sense in that case. So, so you would be like a revered brother of sorts, like a revered. I don't know what I'm gonna look for the name, but there's a name, you know, like
in the Unearthed Arcana thing, or
no, it's like in the original books, the 3.5.
Yeah,
there is
I did not read
like
those.
Yeah, those are amazing. They're so good. Oof. I have them on my shelf, and they're one of the best. That was the first time I spent more than a couple $100 on books from the United States. In a time when nobody imported books here, I think, in that amount. But it was the last sale on the Margaret Wise website, and I remember buying a lot of them and they were so good. There's one dedicated to each. There's Knightly Orders of Ansalon, Holy Orders of the Stars, and the Towers of High Sorcery. And they are amazing. So good.
A question: how are we doing feats and ability score improvements?
I think Elena said that ability score improvements only for stats. Feats need a quest, and we start with 2 or 3.
Good.
2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to figure out how I built this character a while ago, and I was like, did we get both? Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's sort of you got both so far, but
moving forward.
Particularly for I think level 12. Some of us get an ability course improvement, which means we gotta get going on what's our quest. Like my character, it's pretty simple. But maybe now, instead of trying to find the next bead, we got something more urgent, something to rescue Palanthas, or find maybe someone who was at the High Clerist's Tower that we have to retrieve. Like, maybe that initial quest is going to be. Let's go
big or go home. I'm thinking one thing that is one of the things that I always had in my mind at this time was like, where the fuck are the gods of good? why are they letting the knights go run rampant? So I think a good quest could be either you trying to figure out that, or plain and simple, I'm trying to summon Mystical or Paladin to appear in the world and stop, like appear and stop the knights, basically,
Yeah.
Like
Totally.
That could be like
if Takisi's showing up in the real world would have been sort of the end of the War of the Lance, then let's get it's a do or die, like Hail Mary moment, like Paladine should show up, man.
Come here. Because that's the other thing, that gods in this world, they have different avatars, like they take and they can take on different forms. So for example, Takisi's is not really the 5-headed dragon. That is a version of Takisi's, like it's a manifestation of Takisi's. So Paladin can be a great platinum dragon, or it can be a warrior, like a high level paladin, like appears on the land, like it's that something. So you have different. Sometimes you can encounter the gods and you don't know that they're the gods because they're disguised as someone else.
Yep.
So there is that as well. Okay. So what else? What are we missing? Is everything ready? Is there anything we need to make decisions about? The characters before this?
Previous adventures do we have, or we just
Good.
So let's say what's the name of your minotaur?
Keras.
Keras.
Yeah.
So let's say we met early on, like say my character had recently had Revivify, or the ability to bring you back. How, like, what adventure did we then go on, the three of us? Like, what did the Knights of Solamnia like need our help with? Where a merchant ship and powerful divine magic would have been useful for.
This is
maybe
during the
time span, like maybe 10 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, maybe reclaiming an old keep that we had to get to by ship.
Maybe recovering the skyship could be one.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Maybe the skyship crashed during the War of the Lands.
I have an idea.
Okay.
That since your airship is of gnomish invention, maybe you had to go and fetch it, like from Mount Nevermind, which is this place here, which is all the way to the west, which is basically this volcano that has all of the gnomish, most of the gnomish people in the world live there, and they do their inventions and everything else. And maybe you went there looking because you had a vision of like how to build your airship, but you needed someone that believed in it and could actually build it. And you were told that there was someone there that there was a gnome there that could have maybe that life quest, and that could tie with to the north east of Mount Nevermind. There's another mystical, there's a mystical holy place, and maybe you were hunting for your prayer beads, Jonah, so you had to go there as well. So you decided, well, screw it, let's go together, the three of us, and maybe we can kill two birds with one stone, as the saying goes.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
Yep.
And I will the and I will be there and working with you.
Sure.
Yeah, and maybe you are the one that
I'm the muscle.
brought us there, because that's an island.
Yeah.
So we needed your ship to get there.
You need a ship? You have a ship.
Yeah. And maybe just squeeze another mini adventure, and we are set with that.
I'd say that the question would be, where are you now? Like when the war is coming. I'm gonna put it this other way. Why are you in Palanthas at this time? The merchant ship would be of course there because Palanthas has the biggest city in the world. Actually, the Bay of Branchala, which is to the north, it has one of the biggest markets. Everybody trades there. It's one of the wealthiest places in the world, actually. So if you need to sell stuff or buy stuff, or even get news or rumors, it's a very good place to anchor. Yeah, for sure. This side of the world. If you're going east, then it's different. But in this side of the world, in the west side of the world, for sure. West, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think Jonah would be there advancing the quest. Like, this is where most of the temples to the gods of good are.
Yep.
I went there to meet with the other leaders of the faiths and go, where is your... I can't find Mishakal. She's not... Like, she keeps telling me, I don't know, to follow her grace and like lead her light to those that need it. But where are the warrior gods? Where is Kirijolith? Where is Paladine?
Yep.
Like, we need them in this fight. Where are they? And going there maybe to also try and find like information about any possible places of significance in their worship where we might try and attempt a summoning. And clearly it's not going to work because we're going to have to leave.
I would say that my character is at a crossroads. At this point of the story, he's really like, fuck, we had this, and now we are here again. Is this fight just going to end, or is it worth it? Should I let this army just conquer Palanthas and be over with it? Maybe it's better, maybe it's worse. And he's at Palanthas trying to answer that question. Like, should I help to defend this city?
Yeah.
Or should I let it go?
Yeah.
I mean, if
I'm
the city falls, it's bad for business.
For you, yeah.
Terrible for business, yeah. But yeah, there is a version of the future where once the Knights of Takisis have control, where business might resume. For your case, yeah. I think Jonah would definitely be, if he knows that your character, whose name we still I think don't know, is in that quandary. He might offer you like, you can leave and save the city by saving the world, by letting us, finding the good gods.
Yeah. I mean, he's open to receive help with this question, because he's like, fuck man, we can have anything nice.
I was going to say, I'm imagining your knight as, and correct me, or if you don't know about anything about this, just stop me, but have you heard about the Grey Knights in Star Wars?
Yeah.
Now, you have the light side of the Force, the Jedi, you have the Sith, and there's a third path.
Yeah.
There's a path in the middle.
Oh.
Which is, because, the Jedi are obsessed with it in a way to become like vessels of the Force. And, become like, becoming human in a way, lose everything that can move you. And the Sith are all about writing humanity, writing emotions, using the Force like channeling and connect to it in a very like unhealthy way in a way. The Grey Knights are like, no, there must be a different way. There must be a way in which I remain human, but I get to know, to do the right thing when it is reasonable, and that sort of thing. Like when I get to still be human and have my own thing. So I'm imagining maybe you're having that sort of conundrum, and you could maybe found a new order of knights.
Yeah.
You probably have enough purview at this, because you're so high level, and all of the things that you've done. Maybe people are like, well, there are some knights which would defect to your cause if you chose to bring something else. And regarding Chaos, regarding the merchantship, I think the thing you fear the most, the merchants fear the most, is not so much that the Knights Takisis conquer Palanthas, but that there is a long siege. And there are rumors of that. A long siege would kill commerce, for sure. A swift conquest or a rendition or a huge battle that ends quickly, not a problem.
No problem. But a siege will cut all merchant communication.
Because everybody would start hoarding stuff instead of selling it or trading or anything like that. So it would be awful. So yeah, for sure. That's.
But yeah, that is what my character is in Palanthas right now, and
awesome.
Pretty open to have Jonah to talk to him is like, no, this is worth fighting for. Help me. Let's find the gods of good.
Actually, I'd say that the Grandmaster of the Night is here. It's an old man called Gunther Uthwiston, and he's an honorable man. He was a very forward-looking man in a way. So you can, and he lives here. And once again, like the Grandmaster of the Knighthood is here. So if you want to maybe have a relationship with him or anything like that, you could. I leave that up to you.
I think in the table that you sent me, I have a rank because of my level.
Yeah, let me check that.
I don't remember what rank was.
Don't worry, I'm gonna check that too because I don't remember either.
Yeah.
So Dragonlance.
I'm not high justice. That's pretty high level.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna compare the two tables, the ones in the original Dragonlance Dimensions and the ones in Knightly Orders, because in original D&D, you weren't supposed to get to 20th level. So sometimes the tables are just as you were supposed to end about 11th level. So let me check. Knights of Solemnia classes. Yes. So oh, screw me. They don't have the names.
I have still the.
No, I have the other one. But yeah, but I'm looking at the new one. It doesn't have the names. Come on. How can you screw the pooch so much?
The Rose Knight is Arc Knight.
Yeah, because you're not yet.
And level 15 is High Justice.
So close.
I'm just there for Lord of Roses. That sounds so damn cool.
Yeah. So let me check. Yeah, Knights of the Sword, Knights of the Rose. So yeah, Arch Knight. Awesome.
So yeah,
you're a high-ranking knight. Like I don't think there are many Arch Knights in the world.
Maybe, like I said, I'm at Palanthas to try to answer that question. Maybe inquiring with this old knight that is like the knightest of knights, overnight.
Yeah, he's a little bit like that. He's very well respected, and once again, he fought in the War of the Lands. He was the leader of the knights at the time. He became Grand Maester at the time.
Could I have been? I was a squire.
Yep.
Could I have been a squire?
For sure. If you went to, why not?
Yeah. I was thinking that I was a squire to a knight that I admire so much and died in that war, but maybe I can be his squire and have that relationship.
I think those two ideas are super good. If you want to go, I'm gonna say this because you avoided being like the Heroes of the Lands. We're going to use the OG Heroes of the Lands. They did what they did in the novels. Everything fits. So you could have been maybe one of the knights that was in the High Clerics Tower 30 years ago, when Sturm Brideblade sacrificed his life and stopped their blue dragon army and basically restored knighthood by sacrificing his life.
Yeah, I like that.
You were there. Yeah, and when he died, a long-haired blonde elf woman gave a speech, and her speech was that the knights, the knighthood itself, like the restoration of knighthood, was not worth this one man's life. This life was better than all knighthood, because he sacrificed his life so she could use a dragon orb to send the dragons away.
Yeah.
So that speech, the death of Sturm and the discourse of Laurana, the Golden General, Laurana Thalassican, and a high elf, changed everything forever. That was when knighthood started to become better again. It was paid with that price. So
I was there.
Yeah,
I
awesome.
remember.
You were in the battlements. Yeah, you saw that shit. You saw Sturm. There's a beautiful picture of Sturm high on the battlements making the Salamnic salute to a blue dragon that is coming his way, and he's standing like about to duel the rider and the dragon. He with a sword, nothing else. Cool. One of the coolest moments in the series. You know, I get teary every time I think about it.
Oh, cool.
So yeah,
So yeah. So sure.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I think we did it. Like
We did
we've
it.
got the
I am
characters.
pretty much ready. Yeah.
We've got the quest. We've got where our starting point is. Like
are we
we're
missing
ready to play.
something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
I mean,
rest
yeah,
is
you-
writing the detail stuff, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you have to create your like you have to name your character. I don't know if you're gonna roll for stats or choose your awesome magical items, but like we're ready to.
Yeah, I already have the
campaign.
idea. So yeah,
Sure.
is this actually happening? This
Yeah.
campaign is
Good job,
real?
everybody.
It is. It
this
took
is
us a couple of
happening.
months.
Yeah.
Well, Akru was fun.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of fun. It's true.
Look at this guy. Is that a
Yeah.
guiding bolt? A
Yes,
fireball?
yes.
Who knows?
No,
Yes, it is.
that's a fireball,
It's a fireball.
For sure.
a holy fireball.
So I think we're ready and we can play like next time we have time slot available for alternate. So and as
Or-
I said, I think
This is amazing.
awesome. I think that we're all excited and we're ready, and I think we're gonna leave it here for everybody else at home. Thank you very much for joining us for this. Next time you see us, me wearing this background photo, we'll be playing Dragonlance Summer of Change, and you'll be listening and be participating to this wonderful story of high tier D&D bullshit. So be ready for that. Please like, subscribe, leave us a comment, share with a friend maybe who's interested in this, and otherwise, well, happy gaming and long live the lands. See you next time.
See you next time.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye.